Hello, 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 beautiful unicorns. Yana Kasperczak coming back to you with another incredible podcast in the series of Your Journey of Becoming. So, welcome back to this podcast, Get Your Shit Together, with myself, Yana Kasperczak, where now I'm bringing on a few guests that will be sharing their journeys of what it took for them to get to where they are, where you'll hear from real women like Ashley Close today, and they'll be sharing their stories of the messy, the magical middle part of becoming who they're meant to be. Because the truth is that you're, we already know this, that our dream life does not start when everything is perfect. It starts when everything is messy, and it starts the moment that you say, I'm done playing small. When you have had enough. And if you're ready to say that today, grab your coffee, light your candle, and let's dive in. Today I have Ashley Close, who is a multifaceted individual, and she's passionate about showing up authentically, which we all know just how hard that can be some days. And by day, she works in real estate, insurance, and investments. And by night, she loves doing drop in pet care and dog walking for busy individuals. She makes she makes it her life mission each and every day to not let those barriers get in the way of living the life that she loves and making her dreams a reality. So, Ashley, tell us anything that I might have missed about who you are today and let us into your journey of becoming in a way of share that one big story that comes to mind that you feel like is coming through for you today to share with everyone of that middle part that was the messy, the part where you were getting your shit together that brought you to where you are
Yeah,
today.
yeah. Thank you so much, Yana, for having me
Yeah.
on today. This is so exciting. Um, my goodness. It's yeah, I think and that was an amazing introduction. And thank you so much for that. And no, honestly, the authenticity part and just, kind of leading with my heart and leading with the intention of just um, get giving myself 100% to whatever it is that I do um, is I guess part of who I am, as we said. And honestly, for me, it's a learning, like a lifelong learning
Hmm.
every day. And that's what I value. And I would say that kind of in this messy middle part, the weather, being in an Waterloo region in Canada, Ontario, Canada, we got a massive amount of snow, and I think for me right now, the part of becoming patient and forgiving and just understanding
Hmm.
when, things are not going the way that you want it to. Um, primarily because of the weather, primarily because life is like that. Um, yeah, is kind of where I am in my becoming right now.
Hmm. I love how you said the becoming right now because this is the journey of our entire life where we're always becoming and
Hmm.
unbecoming. When
Right.
we're finding ourselves in that place when we're unraveling and then
Hmm.
we're raveling back in, where we're literally losing our shit just so we
It's
can
true.
pick our shit back up together and put our big girl panties on and say, okay, bitches, let's go. I got this now. I had my little hissy
Yep,
fit. I had my little
yep,
tantrum. Now I'm
yep,
good. So tell me
yep,
one of those moments where it was a temper tantrum or a hissy fit where you lost it,
yes.
where all of a sudden you like, that was the moment that you realized what you needed to do.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I mean, I would say, I mean, there's been many. Um, but I think most recently it was just to do with, you know, I guess things with my family, um, my stepdad, and just some kind of dynamics there. And it was actually kind of interesting because I was this kind of my feelings. My families we've I've disagreed with my family on kind of the relationship and everything like that for a long time.
Hmm.
And it was I was listening. Actually, I was in the car driving somewhere as I usually am, and I was listening to the audiobook "Let Them."
Oh, yes.
And I would say, like, kind of the history that's going on in my mind, and just like, having to come to terms with things that they're not going to be the way that I would love them to. But I was listening to the book Let Them. And then there's kind of that second part of Let Me. And I almost like kind of stopped in my mind,
Hmm.
um, and was like, okay, okay. For some reason, something like clicked, and I was like, okay, that is what I need to do in
Hmm.
this moment. That's part of like putting on my big girl pants and dealing with situations. And um, I would highly recommend listening to that book as well, because it really, a lot of things in life we don't have control over. And I think a lot of times that hinders us sticking with the parts that we can't control versus looking beyond that kind of stops us right in our tracks.
That's true. It's like
Yeah.
focusing on, I'm sure all of us have seen these funny little clips where you see someone skiing down the mountain and there's no trees anywhere, and then all of a sudden you see that person going towards that tree. Why does that happen? It happens because you're focusing on it. And what you focus on, you're gonna go in that direction. So if you're focusing
Right.
on good, good will come. You're focusing on bad, bad will come. But often, and
Right.
actually, not often, but always, we don't actually recognize our programming until we become to recognize our programming. So
Hmm.
this whole concept of that audiobook that you were talking about, Let Them, I love that.
Yeah.
Mel Robbins, of
Yeah.
course, and the 5 second rule she has, another definite great read and listen to. I listen, I prefer to
Yes.
listen than reading. But
Yes.
this is also the concept of essentially radical acceptance. And what happens is that
Right.
we human beings, we hear these things throughout our life over and over and over again. It's like, those times where your mom told you something 100 times or your dad told you something 100 times and then you don't hear it. You're like, no, no, no. And then all of a sudden your friend or somebody else tells you the same thing your parents have been telling you. And all of a sudden you come home and you're so proud. You're like, look, I get something. I understand it. And your parents go, I've been telling you this for so long and you don't get it. You didn't hear it. It's because you weren't ready to hear it and understand it. So the same thing with all
Exactly.
of these people and even sometimes our circumstances that we're being faced because our mind is faster than it, our mind is changed faster than our programming is.
Yes.
So we can
Yes.
this is what I see very often with the women that I work with because I saw this in myself as well. And this is how we start to notice things. is that
Yes.
the mind has already changed, but now I'm finding myself feeling anxious for some reason or feeling overwhelmed or
Right.
stressed. But it's because
Right.
now the body is used to feeling a certain way based on the external triggers. And so with this
Yeah.
let them and radical acceptance, it got me to think how we we hear things so many times and we don't fully hear and understand them because the messenger is the wrong messenger.
Right. 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 And I guess even too the way that we're perceiving the messenger.
That's why that messenger might feel like a wrong messenger. So we're closed off to that messenger. And that's why we don't hear that from our parents, especially as
Right.
teenagers. Teenagers are meant and made to be rebellious. Why? Like, look even at pandas.
Right.
Look at any kind of animal in the kingdom. And the pandas are the cutest to watch because
I love
Mama
pandas.
panda becomes so obsessed with her baby, she won't let the baby go. And all the baby wants to do is climb up that tree and that's it. But the mother knows the moment that the baby climbs up the tree, you're done. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yes.
What does that bring up for you as I say that?
Well, actually, it's kind of funny because if I'm being authentic, I remember there was a YouTube video of a mama panda and a little baby panda, and the baby panda, you kind of think nothing's gonna happen. They're sitting there together, and then all of a sudden the baby panda sneezes, and the mom is like, "Whoa,"
Right?
and was like, "It's mine." It's for some reason kind of that's what it brought up, and I feel like I guess it's all in to me. I look at things with a sense of humor,
Hmm.
and or I try to.
Yeah.
And I think when I sometimes then I find things funny, maybe other people would not like that the kind of video or um for instance, there's another YouTube video where there's an alligator that this Airbnb person comes out and starts hitting the alligator on the nose because he's too close to the building. And I know this is on a tangent, but this is just kind of, I don't know, like the way that I'm like, good for you, like kill that alligator,
Hmm.
right? Or like, I'm, I know this is totally off tangent, but it's so funny that like in the becoming that like you allow yourself to laugh and you allow yourself to look at things with a sense of humor and like looking at like even our parents and even like, situations like not take things, I guess, as seriously.
Yeah.
And maybe we may be more accepting of I guess that's kind of where I'm going with this is that if we look at things differently, the things we look at change, including the advice that we're given or the people that we interact with.
Yeah. That's so true. And it's also they've done the study, right? When you look at the object itself changes, but when you don't look at it, the object is different. And they've been looking at it at the light itself, all these studies and scientific little discoveries that they have done. I'd love to actually know that
Yeah.
for you, would you say was that moment that you realized that the life that you were living wasn't actually yours?
Mm, yes, absolutely. Um, I mean, I would say it was when I got up the courage to leave a toxic relationship that I'd been in for 12 years.
Mm, okay.
And yeah, I think that I realized that maybe I was there and I stayed as long as I did, not for me. That wasn't for me, that was for him.
Yeah. Wow. That
because he
sounds like a
needed
lot.
someone to get him to that point. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. And this is the typical good girl syndrome that I see in practically all the women. And
Yeah.
honestly, I feel like it comes down to it's if you're an empath, you give and you give and you give.
Hmm.
If you're a narcissist,
Yeah.
you take and you take and you take. And the way to tell is
Right.
because simply put, every single human being. So as an energy coach, I understand that there's seven
Hmm.
energy levels, and we're
Yes.
being someone different at each energy level. And primarily,
Yes.
most people are living in the first three energy levels.
Mm.
And when it comes to um, all of us human beings, because we have access to all these energy levels, the first
Hmm.
three levels are considered to be narcissistic levels because they're very
Okay.
self-centered. They're all this when you're being the victim, when you're level one, you are focusing on the self. And that is what
Right.
a narcissist is, right? A true narcissist,
Right.
and that's the difference between, just to cut it short, the difference between a true narcissist and an empath is is that when if you know that somebody is hurting and you were the reason why they're
Hmm.
hurting and it doesn't bother you, that's the narcissist being present. That narcissistic
Yeah.
version of us that's coming through. And
Yeah.
I'd love to hear a bit more about this relationship, the parts that you are comfortable sharing,
Yeah.
and most importantly, what got you to finally say, I've had enough. Enough is enough because
Hmm.
that's really the only time we actually do something. We don't do things when we're
Yeah.
comfortable. We don't do things when we're really struggling. We do things when we say, I'm done. I've had enough. I ain't taking your shit.
Yes.
Now
Yes.
I'm gone. So tell me about that moment and what led up to that moment.
Yeah, it's actually really funny because to be honest with you, um, I mean, I don't know if it was God or the universe or what,
Mhm,
but I remember we didn't know it was I think November before the pandemic shut everything down. And we didn't know that what was coming. And I had been with my ex for about 12 years, and we were living in someone's basement. And I think it just kind of was like this cycle. And for whatever reason, the one evening that when I was coming home from work, I was talking to my best friend Laura on the phone, and she said, "We're going to get you out of there." Like, and again, we had no idea of what was coming,
mhm.
but for some reason, it was just like, yeah, you know what? Something in me was just like, stop being scared of leaving.
Yeah.
Stop, stop playing small. Stop thinking that there's, that this is the best that there is. Um, and a few days later, yeah, she came, got me. I had already started putting things in my car, and we just, yeah.
Hmm.
And it was something that, I don't really even know what was the inspiration for it or why, but just something
Yeah.
made me, you know, just say, no, you're meant to become more.
I love that. That because that sounds like it came from a place of unknown that is so deep within you,
Right,
where there's a part of you that has had enough of suffering. We humans, we're meant to suffer,
right,
but suffering is a choice. Pain, because pain is inevitable.
Yes.
We can be in pain, but suffering is a choice. I've even heard of a
Right.
story of a monk who he was living with a lot of pain, a lot of physical pain. But the moment and he would walk into to the temple and the moment that he would take his robe off, the pain went away with it. And he would
Interesting.
meditate for hours. But the moment he
Yeah.
put his robe back on, so did the pain. It came back
Mm.
to him. And when he was asked, why, why do you do this? Why don't you then choose to not live in pain? And he
Right.
said that phrase, that pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional because the person was actually asked, why do you choose to suffer? And he said, I don't choose to suffer, right?
That's
I don't
really
suffer.
interesting because we can use the pain to grow,
Yes.
right? Or we can, I would say, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that's the suffering is you're staying in place. You're choosing to not go beyond that and take the silver lining
Yeah.
and recognize, I think that all pain is designed to help us grow, to help us learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That no matter what, we get to choose what we do with that pain. And
Yes.
we can also at the same time, when the body is in pain, that's the only way that the body knows how to communicate.
Right.
Period. Right? How else is
Right.
the body gonna know how to communicate? When you're hungry, what part of the body communicates with you?
Right. Your
Right?
stomach.
Exactly. And it will grumble, it will rumble, it will roar, right? And if you're doing fasting for too long, it will scream
Hmm.
and it will probably make you vomit. Been there, done
Right.
that. Coming from
Yes.
experience, right?
Yes.
So, which means that if you ignore it long enough, your body will scream louder and louder and louder and louder. Every pain
Right.
starts really small, but if it's left unchecked, untreated, it will grow. And often it is also, let's be honest, it's from lack of movement and exercise for all of us because we were meant
Right.
to be always on walking and we went from that life to completely sedentary life. And I also speak
Right.
from my own experiences as well, right? Hence my beautiful office. Now I'm like, I need a treadmill in here and learn how to walk as I talk.
Actually, I think Jimmy Kimmel does that. I've heard. He has a treadmill under his desk and he doesn't sit, which is kind of funny.
Right. I actually got a treadmill for Christmas, and that's why I laugh because I was so excited that I'm gonna start using it with the desk. And
Hmm.
a word of a warning, if it's a walking treadmill, check the measurements because even for me, I'm 5'1", I'm a little
Okay.
person-ish,
I'm
right? It
4'9".
wasn't
I know.
wide enough and it wasn't long enough, and I fell off of it a few times and stumbled. I'm like this,
No.
like I'm like nervous walking on this treadmill now because I have to. I'm like me, like telling my dad, I'm like I can't talk to you because I'm gonna fall off again, and I'm like I have to learn
Yeah.
walking.
Yeah. I would too.
So that's
Yeah.
where next treadmill I get will be a proper size one where I don't have to worry about it. They'll be as wide and as long. Um, just a
Okay.
little tip of advice. But one
Love it.
thing that you were talking about, as you said, that you were scared to leave, which is
Hmm.
normal, of course. It's change. You're used to this way of living, even though it's not a healthy
Hmm.
way of living, you're used to it. And this is your comfort zone. And now you're leaving your comfort zone. Even though there's nothing comfortable in that zone,
Right.
it was familiar. And that
Right.
is familiarity. This is what creates that comfortability as well.
Right.
And by the way, it's amazing that you have a friend who just said, I ain't taking this. Like, I know you need to get out, so I'm
Yeah.
going to get you out of there. You don't have a choice. And
Yeah.
sometimes this is what we need as well. We need that someone outside of us to champion for us and to, in very indirect ways, and yet in some direct ways, saying, you're worth so much more than this.
Yeah.
And this is what I feel like might have given you that courage and it came from a place of the
Hmm.
unknown where your self-worth rose And you're
It's right.
like, there has to be something better than this, even though initially
Exactly.
maybe this is the best I can get.
100%. Yeah, it's not being like it's yeah, it's not kind of limiting yourself and realizing that the world is so big and you don't have to like there's going to be something better,
Hmm.
right? There's going to be many opportunities, and to think that the opportunity that you're in is the only opportunity or the only thing for you,
Yeah,
it just kind of it closes your mind to you know to the different options
yeah,
and hinders you in that sense.
yeah. And it does, right? It literally locks you in a place of tunnel vision where
Yeah,
all we're seeing is right what's in front of us.
right.
And this goes for any kind of trauma that we experience,
Hmm.
where we're so focused on what we're going through when we need to see, and that's how it's meant to be. We're not meant to be seeing everything. That's why in those moments we literally, our body is and our mind is so intelligent that it knows
Yeah,
to put on those horse blinders for us. So
yeah,
that way we're not distracted by anything else. So we're just seeing right here. Why? So that way we can take everything in and we can register all that
yes,
information. So that way,
yeah,
while you're sleeping, while you're cleaning and distracting yourself, while even you're going through the all the ups and downs, the good days and the bad days or the moments, that your mind is trying to figure all that shit out. It's
yeah,
finding that solution for you.
yeah.
So after you left,
Hmm.
what were the solutions that appeared for you that initially those were the reasons why you were scared to leave? But then once you
Hmm.
left, you saw all of these solutions. So tell me a bit about those things.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was able to freely, um, reach out to friends, spend time with friends, um, not be, afraid that I needed to devote all my time to him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that I could really kind of hone in on what my goals and my aspirations were.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and really just, I think be it like what I would describe a truer version of myself, which is, yeah, it's it, it was freeing, being able to meet new people, being able to change my mind if I tried something and I didn't like it. Okay. I got my real estate license. I took an introduction to sign language course, where I met my friend Erica. And yeah, I started learning sign language, and I just kind of was, yeah, it just opened up a whole new universe.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like you really got busy exploring
Hmm.
and chasing and testing out all the things that you were curious about that you weren't
Exactly.
getting to do or allowing yourself to do
Yes.
prior to the end of
Yes.
the relationship.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome. I love that. Now I also know that number one, every day we're kind of when we go to sleep, we quote unquote
Hmm.
die and then we're reborn again in the morning when we wake up.
Yes.
Right? If we're
Yes.
lucky enough to
Yes.
wake up in the morning, right? So
Yes.
which means
Yes.
that every single day and and sometimes even throughout the day, we might experience this is that
Yes.
there is a previous version of us that has
Yes.
to die in order for this current version of us
Yes.
to be born.
Yes.
So for you, of your journey of
Yes.
becoming, what version of you had to die so the woman you are
Mm.
now could finally live and breathe?
I would say I think as women, we're so concerned about what other people think of us, the ability to say no. Um, the, the recognition as well that, we're all adults, like, or, your friends, adults, and that there's a lot of things that they're going through too. So making the space for people to kind of like in the book that we talked about, the let them,
Yes.
right? Allow them to be their authentic self. And then you be your authentic self. And then by everybody being okay with everybody being their authentic self, I think that's a part of, you know, the the judgment of other people,
Hmm. Yeah.
needed to die as well, because judgment, um is, I think, is absolutely a hindrance to becoming.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe when it comes to judgments, judgment is another word for observations or
Mm,
right
mm-hmm,
paying attention to things. So
mm-hmm.
to a degree we must all have some judgment, but there is like
Right.
anything like a battery, there's positive and negative, like magnets, there's positive and negative, right?
Right.
When it comes
Right.
to energy, there's positive and negative, everything is yin and yang, everything is plus or minus, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it's important to have that judgment, but not cross the line to that negative, dark place. And
Right.
sometimes we don't even recognize that we're doing that because it's it's the autopilot. It's a
Right.
program that we are so comfortable with. And
Right.
it takes a moment to change and rewrite that program as well.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It does. It does.
And
It's
then
it's hard to kind of rewrite that journey, but it's well worth it.
yeah, it definitely is well worth it. And yet it's not an easy one. It's not a linear one.
Right.
It's messy as F.
Yeah.
And it's either you do it by choice or by default,
Right. Right.
right?
I think the lessons, kind of what we were talking about before, like if with the on cameras, but lessons keep coming up over and over again, or the universe is, or like, or God is kind of like, there's things that keep coming up in your life, whether it's opportunities or people or things or lessons, um, and they'll keep hitting you on the head until you're like, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Until you understand
right,
it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And that's why we keep going through, that's what we're going, sorry, that's why we keep going through all of these experiences that cause us to feel the suffering. But the
right,
suffering is of the mind, which is the
right,
mindset. The suffering comes
right,
from the stories that we carry, which are made up of a bunch of different words that we put
right,
together when we were so young that we didn't even understand the world, which means
right,
before we turn 8 years old. This is where all
right,
that programming is there. And now we're running off that program. And then when we become aware of it, whether we're a teenager or older,
hmm,
uh, we are now faced with a choice to
right,
do or not to do, to be or not
right,
to be, right? What are you
right,
going to do with this? Do you go right? Do you go left? We have options,
right,
right? You standing in the
right,
market and you have a cat and a dog in front of you. Do you get a cat or do you get a dog? Your life
right,
is going to be different,
yes,
right?
yes,
And you got to prepare differently for all of that. So
yes,
now what I'm talking about is when it comes to the mindset is all the different ways how it lies to us.
right.
even though it's not lying,
Right.
because those are the stories that we made up in our minds while we weren't even fully aware we were doing that,
Right.
that now we're adults and we're like, oh shit, I gotta heal from the first part of my life. Right? Great opportunity
Right.
or not.
Right. I think that's the thing is that when we become adults, the expectation is that whatever happened before then, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because we are, we're responsible for or we're held, accountable for the way that we react, the way that we approach things,
Hmm.
right? Because then the expectation is that as adults, we're able to reflect on the things that happened and
Yeah.
learn from them. And the adults that don't, they just, I think that's kind of where the like maladjustment comes in,
Hmm.
is I think we all have things that we need to learn from and to reflect on,
Yeah.
to become the people that we want to be.
Hmm.
But not everybody, I think, is either takes the time to reflect or is shown how to do that or the importance of it.
Yeah. That's true. Because not everybody has access to that information.
Right.
And the phrase that popped into my mind was statue of limitation. And I
Yes.
think the reason why is because when it comes to now, I don't really do law. I don't understand law. Not my thing, the whole language,
Of
all of that.
course.
But I watch some shows that
Yeah,
get me
yeah,
to
yeah.
understand what that means, right? And that's what I
Yes.
feel like that word came through is because when it comes to where you said who you were and what you did before doesn't matter. And here's the reason why I think that phrase came through is because with certain things it matters and with certain things it doesn't. Because when
Mm.
it comes to when it comes to the law, certain things there's no statute of limitation. Like once you're
Right.
caught, that's it, right?
Right.
For
Right.
murder, for example, which means
Right.
some things that we do, we still know it's wrong and we're doing it. So that's what we can't say like,
Right.
well, it doesn't matter. It does, especially because you made a conscious choice doing that.
Of course. Of
But
course. That's true. That's
also, I
true.
feel like what you were saying with the way that you describe it is that don't let that define you,
Mm.
right? Your
That's
past
that's
does not define you
yes.
unless you let it. And I've
Right.
worked with women who had siblings and they all were brought up in a really rough, harsh way that,
Hmm.
right? The statute of limitation should also, not exist for that. But
Yep. Yep.
but
Yep.
anyways, and these two siblings grew up in a different way. One is very
Mm.
successful, very determined, and the other one is healing herself and working through things, right? And why?
Mm.
You came from the same seeds, right? The
Hmm.
same oven, the same ingredients, the same seeds, same
Right.
house, same upbringing, same everything. Yet it's
Right.
not really the same, if we're going to be honest.
Right.
But what determines and what changes really is the mindset.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The decision to, as you said, not let it define you.
Yeah, right. It's like things happen to me
Hmm.
versus these things happened for me. And the
Actually,
difference
that's a
is,
very powerful
yeah,
statement. I've said
yeah,
that to myself in those times too. Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry.
Oh no,
Yeah.
like this is the viewpoints and the mindset that all of us good girls had to change,
Yeah.
right? And
Yes.
it's not an easy one either because often the program is, like I said, it's all language, it's all code, secret
Right.
code, right? That
Right.
you don't deserve this, or you don't deserve that, or you deserve this, you
Mm.
deserve this crappy relationship. And which means
Right.
that what is the mindset that one is carrying, which means what are the lies
Right.
one is carrying that allowed someone to live in that way, right? And
Right.
the question that I wanted to ask you is I know as you know we're getting close to the end and wrapping up, I
No
wanted to
problem.
ask you what was the lie that you were living that you
Mm,
didn't realize was a lie until everything fell apart.
right. The lie that I was living is I that I didn't have choices.
Hmm.
That that I like, yeah, that again, that I deserved this.
Yeah,
I think for sure that was definitely those were definitely some of the lies that I was telling myself for sure.
yeah. That's the biggest and the one of the most painful lies that
Yeah,
somehow we believe that this is our punishment, that we
yeah,
must pay for all the bad we have done. But in
yeah.
reality, when we look back, when we start nitpicking of all the bad things that we have done, all those
Hmm.
things that we were doing had good intention.
Well, and that's the thing is that I think that, yeah, I think we all have those moments along the way where yes, the choices that we made were not the best choices or didn't reflect
Hmm.
on who we are. Like we're human, so giving us, some grace for that.
Yeah,
But doing that reflection is practice
yeah.
for future decisions.
Hmm.
And
So,
hopefully when we nitpick it, not going, forward in our life,
mhm,
that's when we see, yeah, yeah, we built the life that we were meant to.
yeah, getting past that nitpicking and being honest with ourselves is very important.
Yeah.
For you, what would you say was the hardest truth where you really had to be honest with yourself, that you have ever had to admit to yourself on your journey?
Um, that I was being very mean to myself and the language that I was
Mm.
talking to myself.
You were being
And
a
then
bully to yourself.
exactly, I was being a bully to myself and I wasn't being kind to myself and respecting myself and that the universe was or you know,
Yeah.
or God would saying, no, you need to learn and you're going to be stuck in this zone until you learn to be kinder to yourself.
Yeah. And how did that feel for you when you were finally honest with yourself?
It felt liberating because I'd always kind of wondered, why am I always stuck in this situation?
Hmm.
Why am I not moving forward? Why am I not getting things in life that I want?
Yeah. And if
Yeah.
and if you could go back to the woman you used to be, what would you tell her that she would not be ready to hear?
Stop it.
How would she
I would just
respond?
say, I'd be like, excuse me.
Bitch, please. You
Yeah,
did not
yeah,
just tell me that.
exactly. Exactly. Like, bitch, please. Like, don't tell me what to do. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. I love that. And on our journeys, like the biggest part of the journey is losing things and finding things, right?
That's it.
Discovering
That's it. Yeah.
discovering, right? This is what we're doing
Yeah.
all the time, day in, day
Yeah.
out, whether they're physical objects or simply we forgot some one of our memories and we're like, oh my God, what was that? I need to write it
Yeah.
down, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
on
100%.
your journey, what did you lose on your journey that you actually did not expect to grieve?
Mm. Time.
Tell me more.
Just the 12 years.
That was the relationship that,
Hmm.
wow.
Yeah. I think I, especially when I first like got out of that and looking back, I grieved the time that I lost in my life.
Mm,
The
yeah,
12 years of, you know, that could have been used so much more differently and effectively and you know, yeah.
yeah.
And the feeling that I could have been farther along in my life than I was.
Oh, that's true. I love your awareness because
Yeah.
not everybody becomes aware of the
Hmm.
things that they're grieving in a way of really truly understanding that there's only a few commodities that we
Yes.
have that
Yes.
once they're gone, they're gone.
Right.
Time and energy, those are the two things. Once they're
Those
gone, they're
are
gone,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
And those are the things often that I hear women talk about the things that they regret, but often
Hmm.
they're not fully connecting it to the time
Right.
or the energy that they have given
Right.
that relationship and that exchange
Right.
in there. And
Right.
so for you, what would you say was that final moment when you finally said, enough is enough? I choose me now.
I think it was in that moment of talking to my friend.
Mm. So what about that conversation that you'd say brought that up for you or brought that out of you?
Um, just her conviction. I think we had had so many conversations, and she was just like, we've talked about this over and over again.
She's had
And
enough.
yeah, exactly.
See, so she's had enough, and she also saw that you have had enough, and it was time
Yeah.
for a change. And I will
Yes.
tell you that there's quite a few women that I work with that one of the things that they either were scared of or are scared
Hmm.
of, and it's still in some ways is still something they're dealing with, is
Right.
what the bravery that it requires to pick up all of your things, your
Hmm.
gatherings, your
Yeah.
items, gather everything and
Yeah.
leave. Like
Right.
how scary that is. Some of these women, they have
Yes.
children,
Yes.
right? And some of them don't, and it's not
Yes.
easy. So, what would you
Yes.
say to those women who are in that same boat as you, who just who just cannot do it anymore, and say
Yeah.
something to her that she is not ready to hear either?
That there is that when you make the decision that you're going to leave, good things will open. When one door closes, another one will open.
Oh, yes.
You'll be okay. You'll
Yeah.
be okay. Yeah,
Thank you. That was a
of course.
beautiful way to wrap it up and put a beautiful bow at the end of our podcast together, Ashley. So thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your light. Thank you for sharing your authenticity with us today. I know so many women felt and will feel seen in your words and in your journey that you shared with all of us today. And those of you who are listening to this podcast or watching this podcast on your favorite platform, if you love this episode, share it. Please share it with a friend who is ready to get their shit together and come hang out with us inside this podcast and get your shit together where a conversation like this can turn into lifelong sisterhood. And make sure you are subscribed to my podcast. It's Get Your Shit Together, as you see on the wall behind me. Um, get your shit together and don't miss an episode. And make sure you click that little bell notification so that way you're not missing it out. And in some of these podcasts, they're actually live on my personal Facebook page, so you can check that out as well under my name, Yana Kasperczak. And thank you, everybody. And thank you once again, Ashley. And until we do this again next time, keep showing up, keep becoming, and remember, you are not behind, you are right on time. So thank you, everybody. Until next time.